folks. Welcome to Between Awesome and Disaster. This is your host, Will Carey. I appreciate you being here as always. I hope you're having a good day. Today on the show, one of my oldest friends in stand-up comedy and a great joke writer, just a dude I have a whole lot in common with, Eli Sairs. Eli's like maybe one of the first friends I made when I was doing comedy, driving around the Baltimore, D.C., Virginia area in 2007. And he was, at the time I was doing a lot of like deadpan one-liners. And I was the only one that I knew who was doing that stuff, comedy like that at the time. And then Eli I met, and I just was like so happy to meet someone else because he also was doing a lot of very short, concise jokes at the time. We talk a little bit about how we've moved on from that since, but it was really nice to get to sit down and chat with Eli because he's someone I've known for a really long time, and I like getting to talk shop with someone that I've been around, who I've been doing this with for a while. And Eli, another thing. Another interesting tidbit, Eli was recently featured on the Road to Roast battle on Comedy Central. You probably will know the Comedy Central roast battles, which are super popular now. Eli got to do one at the Village Underground here in New York City, and it was so cool to get to see one of my friends on TV, and not only on TV but do really well. So it was really cool to get to talk to him. So we'll chat with Eli in a second. Real quick, I want to make sure that everyone knows that I'm going to be doing a half-hour stand-up show with my friend Tyler Richardson at the People's Improv Theater on February 26th. Tickets are $7. I'll have a link in the description. You can also follow me on Twitter at ComicWillCarey. And I'm going to be doing a half hour of my friend Tyler Richardson on February 26th. For a $7 ticket. So if you're in New York, I'd love to see you there. Now let's go to my chat with Eli Sairs. I've recently started following like college hockey because my girlfriend's dad's a big Boston College.
Wait, your girlfriend is what?
My girlfriend's dad went to Boston.
I thought you said my girlfriend's dead, so...
No.
I started watching college hockey. Sounds good.
That would be the greatest random story to just turn to a random person at the stadium and just go,
funny.
Enjoy the match. But no, her dad went to Boston College, so
okay.
I saw they recently played the North Dakota at the Garden.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I went. It was pretty fun.
I love hockey. I have a limit of how many sports I can follow. I try to follow every sport because I like if I could, I'd follow every sport, every college version of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
There's no time.
I know. Soccer's my big one, and that takes a lot because there's like four different countries that have really good leagues, including the United States, and then all the international games.
I feel like soccer is the one for people who don't like any other. I meet people who, in New York especially, who like soccer is the only sport they like.
Yeah.
Like I rarely meet someone who likes like football, baseball, basketball, and soccer. It's always like, I don't like sports. I follow soccer though. Is that you?
That's me.
Yeah. See. Oh God.
And for the longest time, I didn't follow sports at all.
There's an argument that you still don't. I like soccer when I see it. I like it. I don't follow though.
Yeah. Well, no, I think the reason that because I think, and maybe especially in some comedy circles, maybe soccer is viewed as the less like jocular, testosterone, like douchebag driven
it's for nerds.
Sport.
It's no offense to you, but it's for nerds.
I'm not
it's like for people.
Offense.
It's like I don't know. It's like they feel like they like a band that's not popular yet or something like that. Like it's a hipster sport, I think.
There is definitely.
I think there's that quality to it. It's like it feels foreign and
there is 100%.
I don't know.
No, there is 100% that quality to that. There are people that there are teams like in other countries that don't do very well, but like their organization is like very like politically left or like in line with a lot of things, or they're owned by like people in the community, and there are soccer hipsters that will gravitate to those teams.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, it's almost like that they don't like soccer. There's just like it's someone who extra doesn't like American football. It's like they're rubbing it in. They're like, no, I only like soccer. Like they just want to take it to that next level of not liking.
Like they want to shove it in your face.
The sports that their bullies liked. They want to get even further away from not liking sports is just liking soccer.
Yeah,
I think.
What do you think's actually worse, not liking sports and saying you don't like sports, or saying you only like soccer?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I
also
respect,
do.
I do respect
follow
soccer.
Hockey too.
Yeah,
so.
You just said you do college hockey because your girlfriend died. So, but no, it's fine. Just don't be an asshole about it. You can not like sports and you can only like soccer. It's when people get real fucking like
pretentious
snobby about it or like all sarcastic, like, oh, who's they're gonna score a home run in this football game? Like, you're so funny, you fuck.
Yeah. Or people who say sports ball.
Oh my Jesus!
I fucking hate that so much. Oh
God! And they all say it like they're the first person to ever come up with it. Like they think they're very clever. I like the sports balls.
It's almost like it was really. I think for a long time it was really hacky to be, for me at least, really hacky to be into sports, and now it's almost hacky to not be into sports. Again,
it can be trendy either way, I guess.
I think so, because for the longest time I had it in my head that I couldn't be do theater and also follow a sport.
I mean, I was in high school. I was kind of like, I tried out for the baseball team and I made it, but didn't play. And I don't know exactly why. Like I quit. I was just kind of like decided like I actually don't want to do this. And I was really into like punk rock and shit. And maybe subconsciously I thought like, well, I can't be both. Like,
yeah,
just stupid. Yeah, you got to get over that. You got to be like an adult and like just like whatever.
Yeah, I'm better with that now too. Now that I have some gray hair and and a little bit more of a I don't give a shit kind of attitude.
Yeah, it's you overcome all these things. Like you built your identity, and you just realize how stupid it is. Like you have to have your identity as a sports fan or as a music fan. And almost everything that people are into, if you're open-minded about it, you can see why they're into it. Like if I had the time of day and the money, I would get into Magic the Gathering. I would get into every sport. I'd be going to NASCAR events. Like there's almost no hobby people have that I don't see it and think like, oh yeah, that would be cool. Like that is neat. And
exactly.
I think a lot of becoming an adult is dropping any like preconceived like biases against like stuff like that. Like I would love to go to NASCAR events and bring like a pack of Magic the Gathering cards. Like that would be ideal. But I just don't have time for everything, basically.
Yeah, I know.
I follow NASCAR, but kind of casually, just I don't have time.
Yeah, it's just sort of like, oh, okay. Well, now because you can get an app for
that ESPN app is great.
Yeah. Oh, it's spectacular. I know exactly what you mean because like college football, like Alabama, and because they're considered like the best, like one of the best, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they lost the championship, but yeah, they've been ranked number one going into however many seasons now, and they probably will be ranked number one going into next season.
And people who love Alabama football fucking love Alabama football.
It's deeper than it's a religion. Yeah, basically.
So I imagine going to a game like that's got to be fun as shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen them?
No, I've not.
You have.
I grew up in Mobile. They play in Tuscaloosa, and which is a bit of a drive from Mobile, actually. But no, and my parents kind of aren't into sports and never were. So I was super into all that stuff and like the Bama-Auburn rivalry, and they just kind of rolled their eyes at it all. So I had no ride to get up there, and I didn't get my license until later on when we moved to Ohio. So
yeah,
I never got a chance to go. I've never been to a football game, like college or
Me
NFL.
Neither.
And from what I hear, it's probably the least fun one live. Like.
Because there's so many commercials. And
just the camera can capture so much better the action, I guess. Like, so a lot of people say like NFL games, it's like barely even better if you're there live. Sometimes it's better to watch home. Whereas with like hockey, it's like hockey. I think it's the best live experience in the world. Honestly, that's it. Hockey live is great, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Hockey's spectacular live. I've been to a couple of. I've seen Boston College and North Dakota. That was a great game. I saw the Islanders play the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm an Islanders fan. That's the one team that I adopted in New York when I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
Islanders. Yeah, did you see the playoffs? The Panthers Islanders game. I saw them in the playoffs last year. It was amazing.
I didn't see them in the playoffs. I saw the one where they came back from 2 down and they scored like 3 goals in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was the playoffs though. Was that they were like down 2-0, then 3-0, but they reversed the call, and then I was at that game.
I don't think it was the playoffs,
Okay.
but yeah, that was a fucking exciting game.
Yeah. Hockey Live, and then overtime Hockey Live is the best thing. I've been to like 3 playoff games in overtime, and they're like when the Islanders were in last year against the Panthers and the Lightning. Mm-hmm. And it's just so intense. It's the best.
Oh yeah, I love stuff. I love stuff like that. I've the same way like you talk like we're talking a bit about like the tension of it.
Yeah.
Like there's just that like okay, nothing can go wrong. That's also the same way I enjoy soccer live is because you're just watching the minutes tick up and like, oh, blow the whistle, please, so we can win. I'd really hate to score and then have it end on a tie.
That's the big, and I've been to soccer live. I went to my family's near Columbus now. I went to a Columbus Crew game. It was great. I loved it. I had a lot of fun. But yeah, sports. The big irony is like I'm miserable when I watch it. Like it's my favorite thing. It's supposed to be my relaxation, but I'm in hell. When I'm so stressed out.
You're just so stressed out.
Yeah, it's just a heart attack. Yeah.
Yeah. No, because you're just like again, it's like a religion.
Yeah.
And for you, growing up in Mobile, so like it's tradition. I imagine like you've been like probably following Alabama for a while.
Yeah, I had no say in the matter. Like I was just it's just indoctrinated. Like in elementary school when I was like 8 years old, they had like Bama versus Auburn Day where you wore Auburn's their big rival, and the kids dressed in like whichever colors, and then they like compete with each other all day. And so like they like instill a gang mentality in you from when you're a kid.
Yeah, I think when you think about it like that, it makes complete sense that like violence and some of the crazy shit around sports happens.
I think that's true. I also think I think there are some people who just use sports to like as an excuse to be violent, and then some people I'm talking about religion right now. So people are like
I know.
It's like religion. Some people use it for violence, but no. But then I think sports can be a healthy way. I think just a lot of people have that shit in them, and sports can be a much more healthy way to get that out of people.
Yeah.
Than like maybe because we can scream our heads off at a football player, we're not going out and killing someone.
I agree. It's like a socially acceptable venue for a certain type of cathartic release.
Yeah, I think so.
If I'm going to try to sound smart about it.
No, that's true. I agree with that.
Yeah. This is good. This is good, man. Because you were like, I'm glad that we're sitting down for a little bit because you were like the 3rd or 4th friend I made doing comedy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the DC.
Yeah, back in DC because we both were. Did we start around the same time? How long?
I remember. I don't know. I had been there a few months, I think, and you came to like Spy Lounge, right? My mic.
Yes.
Is that the first time I met you? I think so, right?
It was either at Spy Lounge
or at one of T. Brad's rooms.
It was either Spy Lounge or I think it might have been one of Irwin's rooms.
Oh fuck!
Because I think I would. I would go down and do
EJ's
that
Landing.
Fish restaurant.
Yeah,
yes.
EJ's Landing. Maybe we met there. Yeah, I remember you came in with what's that girl's name? Alex, I think. To
yes,
Spy
Alex
Lounge.
Powers.
Yeah, and that's my first memory of you. But it might have been EJ's. It was around that same time. I remember that. But you must have. Yeah, if I'm your 3rd friend, I started taking it seriously in like July of 2007.
That sounds about right. Because I did like my first open mic in October of 2007.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
And I was like going to High Tops every week, and then I met Alex, who told me about DC, and I was like, oh, I gotta go check out these places in DC. And then I remember meeting you and going, oh, good, I'm not the only one trying to do like short, like clever
I
jokes.
Like white person. I didn't know what you were talking about. I was like, what?
No, I was gonna land like it's like, oh yeah, because we're the minority doing comedy in Boston. Not really. No, because I was doing like I was still very much in like my Hedberg Dimitri Martin phase and was like really just sort of like oh, this kind of sucks. I'm I'm like so like low energy. It's really hard in some of these sports bars with the Ravens games on.
Oh my God, yeah, it's hard to.
And I was like, oh, good, another guy who's doing like short jokes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because it was me, you. We were, I think, the only like one-liner guys at the time that I can think of. I can't really think of anyone else who did that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Ledger, I guess.
Yeah, Bledger for a little while because I've seen him through a couple different phases. Maybe Nora Nolan.
Oh yeah, I mean she had short jokes. I would never say she's a one-liner comic, and I wouldn't say I'm a one-liner comic anymore, honestly. But
I wouldn't either.
But
I've been trying to move away from it since Twitter got popular.
I'm yeah. I call myself like a two-liner comic. I think. I like it short. I still like it short.
Yeah. No, yeah, because you have like perfect, like your stuff has like really great, like technically precise structure, and I dig that about you.
Thanks, man.
So, what's Mobile like? I'm curious. Having no concept of Alabama, I'm curious what growing up in Mobile was like.
Well, Mobile as a city is a pretty. I guess divided. Like I was talking to some comic who said that they drove through Mobile and they've never seen more of a stark like good side of the tracks, bad side of the tracks city. Because there's West Mobile, which is full of like rich people or well-off people, and even down there, even like the well-off parts, there's this kind of undercurrent of like redneck and stuff like that. But
Sure.
Where I grew up on the Dauphin Island Parkway, South Mobile was it wasn't like the ghetto, but it was definitely like lower middle class. I was one of the only white kids in the neighborhood and at my school. So it depends on what part of Mobile if you define it. There's suburban West Mobile, which I didn't like because the middle school I went to had a lot of kids from there and they sucked and were assholes to me. And I hung out with all the black kids there, and then ended up going to school closer to home. But yeah, I don't know how to describe it. I guess like
is it like relaxed like I imagine most southern cities are, or
it's pretty chill, yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty chill. It's pretty I think 50-50 white black. It's kind of like the downtown area. There's a lot of kind of like old French type history there. The downtown looks like New Orleans kind of, and I think some people call it Little New Orleans. And I think some movies that are set in downtown New Orleans shoot in Mobile because it's cheaper and they can pawn it off as New Orleans. So it is similar to New Orleans in some extent. And there's debate like Mobile claims like we invented Mardi Gras and that New Orleans stole it, which I think is true, but I think New Orleans definitely made it funner or better.
Yeah, interesting. I would have never. That's interesting because I never thought of the like French influence, and because again, outside of like a football culture, I couldn't tell you like regional cuisine, like any sort of like arts or anything about Alabama. Yeah,
it's Mobile at least is and Mobile is like a little different than like Birmingham or some of the ones up north. Mobile is like dead south, like as south as you can get, right on the bay, Mobile Bay, right on the Gulf of Mexico. So a lot of fish. Like fishing, growing up, it felt like fishing was kind of a cornerstone of the economy, honestly. So there's a ton of seafood as far as cuisine goes, and some like what you call it, Cajun food, which is my favorite kind of food. Yeah. We'd have like gumbo.
Catfish.
Yeah, we'd have like gumbo once a week in school cafeterias and stuff like that. And it was really good too.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, cuisine's good. There's the arts there. I used to go to punk shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like I remember this about you, that because you were also there. It's like, oh, another punk guy.
Yeah.
I was. What sort of punk rock were you listening to?
At the time, when I was like 15, I feel like I was actually listening to like, is classic punk a word? I don't know, like Sex Pistols, Ramones, 70s,
yeah, like 70s, 80s.
So and then some early 80s stuff, like I like Minor Threat and the Bad Brains and all that. And I know you're a pop punk guy, and
yes,
only pop punk I really loved was Green Day, and I really love Green Day. But other than that, I can't say I know or listen to a lot of like pop punk.
Yeah, and I only listen to the like big names in what's considered like real punk by a lot of people. Like I love Minor Threat, I love the Descendants. Bouncing Souls are really good. I like
Misfits, big Misfits fan.
Oh yeah, I love them. But yeah, I was always firmly rooted in like Blink and Green Day, who I love, and like Newfound Glory.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like a little bit of melodies, but I also like I can appreciate like the Damned or
like the Damned,
X, like any or Black Flag. I did get into Black Flag in college.
Yeah, I mean,
Just sort of like the aggression.
yeah, that's it. I get the appeal of pop punk, but I was just a little angrier than that, I guess. I don't know. But,
Yeah, I think that's it. You were a little angrier, and I was a little sadder.
yeah, I think that's probably it. You were a little more emo, I think. But,
Yeah, I was probably a little bit more, but you maybe weren't angry enough for. Well, I know you like Pantera also.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
you're
Well, yeah, a lot of people in the South love especially growing up when I did it was like new metal was huge, and I liked it too. I liked like Korn and Disturbed and all that crap. Deftones I liked. That's what I remember. I went to a mostly black high school, so it was mostly rap. But of the like group of rednecks, and I wasn't like a redneck, but that's what the white people there were.
Yeah.
It was like Slipknot, Korn, Pantera, Disturbed, all that shit, which I liked it at the time too.
Yes, same. I also really liked Stained, and like Primer 55.
I used to love Limp Bizkit,
Soil.
man. I thought Kid Rock. I still like Kid Rock. I'll still defend Kid Rock.
Yeah.
But
No, I had a huge Kid Rock phase when I was first getting into music, and I was like, oh, I want to try.
That's what it
like
was,
before I knew what a sample was, and I hadn't heard Metallica's Sad But True yet.
I liked Metallica when I was younger a lot, but yeah, that was what it was those days. Eminem was big. That's why so many of us, our generation of comics, love offensive comedy. I think it's like look what we grew up on. Eminem, South Park, Jackass, Kid Rock. Like, yeah, of course we like offensive, stupid shit.
Yeah, there's always that sort of like seed of that's what made us laugh when we were like just.
Yeah, when I was young, that's what cracked me up was Eminem and the Jackass guys.
Oh yeah, I loved all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's a really good point. There's always that sort of like kernel of and a lot of my friends are probably more on the like let's be nice and try not to upset people side of comedy, but I do take umbrage with people that say that and act like they've never laughed at something stupid or upsetting. Because you have.
Yeah, it's natural. It's a human nature. If you are human, if you're not a fucking weirdo robot, then there's something just funny about someone saying something that's wrong. Like the wrong thing is just funny. And I get some of the backlash. Like there's a million people who think they're, every open micer thinks they're supposed to be the edgy comic, and it's fucking, you cringe because you hear it's like, maybe learn how to tell a joke before you tackle race. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you see so much bad edgy.
That's it.
People,
and you see it though, because I do think when edginess is done right, and I'm fine with it being a job you have to earn, but like when it's done right, it's just the best, I think, and that's why everyone wants to do that. But then you get people just getting way. I mean, I'm sure some of my shit, like my first year, Jesus Christ, was me trying to be fucking, I don't know. Trying to be Chris Rock or whatever, or trying to be.
Is that who you were trying to be? Because I also think it's rooted in a punk rock sort of fuck you and what you think is correct society.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. No, I wasn't trying to emulate. I loved Kid Rock when I was starting, but I wasn't trying to emulate him. It's pretty funny. I remember I was like 18 and first discovered what stand up was. It was all like, that's Dennis Leary. He's pretty good, and like, I liked Dane Cook. I still think Dane Cook had a really good first album, but
Harmful of Swallowed.
Yeah, I thought that was really good, and I think like half of his second album was good too. So I think I get the backlash, but some of it was like too extreme.
Yeah, with some hindsight, you can definitely like you look at Dane Cook and he is a good comic. He can make a crowd die laughing.
Yeah, he just kills. He like
exactly, he kills. He might not make you laugh, but he kills.
Yeah,
there's an important distinction to make between not being funny and
but I think he is funny. I think that after he got famous, he got so famous. I think it happens with a lot of comedians. If they get famous, they get to a point where if they just walk out there and do their little isms, like their Dane Cook isms, the crowd laughs. So if you can get laughs on that, then why would you write a joke? So the writing just suffers. Right. That happened with Sam Kinison too. If you listen to like his first album compared with like the shit he was doing at the end when he was just like screaming and stuff, people just fall back on their character. and stop writing. I think if Dan Cook had kept on writing as hard as he did for Harmful Swallowed, then I don't know. I think he would have had a very great career.
Yeah, like if the bits stayed like as strong.
Yeah, but they didn't
stayed
really.
like as hungry. You know, I know exactly what you mean. Because the other thing I think that happens, and hopefully someday I'll have the success to say, yeah, this is what happens. You have so much time to write like your first special or your first album.
Yeah.
And then your second or third
your first album, it's like a career's worth of jokes. And then the next one is like a year's worth.
Year's worth or 2 years worth if you're lucky. And you're just kind of, and you're probably trying to build it. You're trying to build it in maybe more friendly spaces. Because I almost think, and like maybe I don't know if you agree with this or not, I think our jokes I think part of why we did well in the scene we started in like Maryland, DC, and even though it's not the most friendly environments, our jokes were really good.
Yeah,
well, like
that's one way to put it. Yeah,
they were like technically not in like we were brilliant writers at the time, but they were technically sound to a point where, like mathematically,
they're mathematically they worked as a joke. It wasn't relying on like
personality.
Is this person gonna relate to my worldview? It's like mathematically this joke works, you know. So yeah, I think I'd agree with that definitely.
Yeah,
like no one doesn't like a joke, you know. So
exactly.
we could talk to like liberal college kids or a bunch of drunk yahoos at fucking high tops, and it would work, you know. Because who doesn't like a joke?
Yeah, who doesn't like a joke? I agree with you completely. So you got into comedy. So you start like discovering stand up at 18. Where it was before that, was there ever a point where you were gonna like be in a band or?
Oh yeah, I was gonna be a punk rocker.
Yeah,
I was gonna be a rock star and a punk rocker somehow at the same time.
You were gonna be the morally virtuous, incredibly successful.
I guess so. Yeah.
Punk rocker.
But I was music for a long time, and then
same.
When I was I didn't know what stand up was in Alabama, honestly. Then when I went to college in Ohio, when I was like 18, I finally got cable. So I got Comedy Central because the college just had cable for everyone. And then I saw it, and that changed everything. I was like, oh, shit. And I went to see Doug Stanhope live. That was my first live show.
Where did you see him?
At Ohio University. He went in and offended literally everybody. It was really funny. He was drunk, and people walked out and were yelling. And it was in the papers the next day about how many, like 200 people demanded their money back. Because it was like at an auditorium, and it was like parents' weekend, so these like dads brought their daughters and stuff, and
they had no idea
they had no idea what
they were
getting
in store Doug
for.
Stanhope.
After that I was like, yeah, I'm in. This is great. So yeah,
awesome. And that was when you were in Ohio.
Yeah. Ohio University. And then I first did it when I was 19. I found a comedy group, sketch comedy, and like they do sketch and stand up. And I did it, but like, you know, not that often. I did it maybe 20 times in college, like between age 19 and 21. And then like just every couple months or so. And then once I moved to DC when I was 20, that's when I started doing it like, you know, 7 times a week and hitting the pavement real hard.
Yeah, I remember like everyone in New York always talks about people that are doing like 20 sets a week and like 30 sets a week. You were like one of the first guys I knew that was like, didn't you do a set like every day for a year?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
In Baltimore and DC.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That doesn't sound that hard to a New York comic because, you know, there's so many mics.
Places.
But yeah, DC, especially at the time, you know, I would drive between states to get like, because you go from like Maryland through to Virginia for another one at 8 o'clock, and like you'd have to drive lengths of time, and each set was like 5 to 8 minutes, so it was a little bit different than like, because you know you can do 15 in 3 days here, like 7 in 2 days here if you want, but
yeah,
doing 7 a week in DC was it was work.
Yeah, you kind of had to like do it between like 3 different states, and then like a 45-minute drive in between each of those.
Yeah. And having a day job at the same time. And
yeah. What were you doing for work at the time? Because I remember while you were doing this, I think that's when we like went over to Justin Schlegel's
I remember
apartment once.
Yeah, that was fun.
I miss that guy. I want to talk to him.
I don't know what the fuck he's up to, but dude's brilliant. He was working at the radio station for a while, right?
He was working.
Is he still there?
I believe he's still on. He's still the morning guy at 98 Rock. I know he has a kid now.
Justin has a kid?
Justin Schlegel has a kid.
Oh, brother.
You know how I found out? Do you remember Mike Finazzo?
The name I know.
He made like a feature film with Jason Weems stars in.
Okay.
And he and Schlegel do a scene, and Schlegel's character is going on this like crazy riff about how he's having a kid, but he like wasn't planning on having a kid, and he's like not sure what the fuck he's gonna do. I was like, Justin, and I said to him, I was like, Justin is really great in that scene. And he was like, yeah, that's all true. And I was like, fuck.
So his name is Optimus, right? It has to be.
Oh, I hope so.
This dude loved Transformers.
Yes, he did. That house had so
many Transformer toys. A whole wall of.
Yeah, I think he had an Optimus Prime cookie jar too.
I mean, I'm glad he's putting it in. Talk about healthy outlets. I don't know.
Yeah, because he was in LA for a while, and then he came back for the radio job.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Which is good. Good for him.
Yeah, good work.
Dude's
if you can
genius, man.
He would like make me laugh so hard.
Yeah, one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
He was headlining in High Tops, for anyone who doesn't know. A guy named
no one knows. For anyone who doesn't, who knows? Unless T-Brad is listening right now, no one knows High Tops.
If you don't, if you are not one of the people who knows what High Tops is, T-Brad Hudson, a comic in Baltimore, ran a weekly show that just ended after like 10 years. And it had a booked headlining spot. It was the first place I did stand-up at, and Justin Schlegel was actually the headliner the first time I did it. Yes, the first time I ever did stand-up. He had this great, he would talk about ramen noodle flavors. And how
I remember that bit, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like Oriental. It's like, how do you get 3 meats and a culture or something like that?
No, that dude was insane. And yeah, T-Brad, I owe him because, man, that was my Sunday, Mike, when I was doing 7 a week or whatever. I drive all the way up to Baltimore to High Tops and then later the other place. But yeah, T-Brad, I owe T-Brad every Sunday night, Mike, because that was for a while, that was the only place to do it.
Yeah.
To drive from D.C. to Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. I owe him. There was like literally no other place I was going to do stand-up in Baltimore when I started. Because how was I going to get the idea to go and do a bringer at Magooby's? You couldn't get into the Comedy Factory at the time unless you knew someone.
Yeah, that place was. I had auditions there, and I heard that they loved me, and like did everything I could. I'd had guest sets. Schlegel put in words for me, and it just nothing happened.
Yeah, it's strange how that place
I like
works.
that place, but it was impenetrable.
Too. I had a couple of like really killer guest sets there because Alex vouched for me in front of Mickey Coachella, and I crushed in front of Mickey, so Mickey liked me. I love talking this kind of shit, dude.
Oh, me too.
I love these old kind of war stories. So you are okay. So when did you move to DC?
To DC?
Yeah.
2007, July-ish, June, July 2007.
And did you know you were gonna be pursuing stand-up when you moved there?
That's why I thought about. I knew I wanted to do comedy after because I was doing it in college, and I loved New York. I'd only been once, but I thought it was cool, and I kind of wanted to move there. But I also thought about moving to some other city to get good first. I thought about Boston because The Departed came out, and I was like, that place looks cool. But DC, I got an offer to like sleep at a friend's for free while I get on my feet, so that won.
Perfect.
So I went up to DC and saved up a bit for my own place.
What were you doing for work at the time?
Let's see. First, I was at a Chinese restaurant for 2 days. Then they fired me, said they wanted a woman. I was taking orders. And then, then file clerk. Yeah, then I pretty much got into this fucking records keeping file clerk shit, which is kind of similar to like mailroom, I guess. I did it at one place in Rockville, Maryland, and then in the Department of Justice. And that's what I'm doing up here, too.
Files and stuff.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's
whatever. Yeah. I hear. I'm doing like contract checks for a department store, so it's like for like toys and stuff. Make sure they have all their tests to make sure the paint and the toys isn't really leady.
Oh, okay.
Well,
you at least get to work with toys. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, it still sounds very boring, but.
It's not exciting, but I'm just glad that I'm not working at a coffee shop or.
I remember. Yeah, you working in a coffee shop. Yeah.
Yeah, or almost getting punched in the face by one of Rich Voss's hecklers as a door guy at a comedy club.
Really? That's
funny. Did you not?
No, I didn't know about that. Which club?
The Laughing Devil doesn't exist anymore.
Thank God. Yeah.
It's the standing room now.
Yeah. Standing room is so much better.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I haven't been there recently, but I've gone to like chill and have a cocktail.
Yeah.
And what they've done with that space is just so great.
Yeah.
Like it's really fancy now.
Yeah, I like it.
I
like it way more now.
Yeah, it's a really cool spot to be. You do a lot. You do a lot of stuff with like at the stand and stand. And I know you got a show to get to, so I just want to get through.
I got a few more minutes here, but then
I want to get to a few things quickly, and I will absolutely have you on again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm fine with doing it again sometime when I'm not as
cool. Yeah, if you just want to, we could talk about whatever. If we could just tell old stories about DC again, but
yeah, whatever you want.
I want to get through a couple of things. So yeah,
right.
So I knew you I think you got to New York of maybe a few months after me. I moved in June of 2010.
I moved in October 2010, I think.
Okay, so just a little.
Yeah, just a little after.
A few months after me, and I remember I was glad to see you because I was like really sad and low.
Yeah, it's depressing for the first year or so.
Yeah, and I was like barely keeping like my head afloat financially, and I was trying to have enough strength to get to like the next mic or what have you. So what was I'm curious because I like it was cool kind of watching the direction that you sprouted off at, because you were doing a lot of sketch stuff with the Wildcats, was, I don't go to a lot of free shows, but I made sure to go to yours pretty regularly because I just loved it so
Thanks,
much.
Man. Thank you.
And I'd never stuff I would never have the courage to do. I like when other people do, like a sketch that has a video of a guy fucking a horse.
Yeah, that was a classic. Yeah. Eating out a horse, if we're gonna get technical.
Oh, okay.
Well, then he did fuck him. He ate it out first, and then fucked the horse.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then like, I think that was also the one where like Reed like ended up crying and like fake jerking off.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I'm curious how Wildcats came about, because you did. How did you get with Wesselschmidt and Wachowski?
Well, they just were early friends. Jeff and Joel were just two of my closest friends right now, and two of my earliest when I moved to New York. So it just made sense. We just had chemistry and wanted to do something. And we're just, I don't know,
because you and Jeff have kind of similar, I think, comic sensibilities.
I can see that. Yeah, we're both.
Joel, I think, is more of a goofball, but I think
exactly.
You guys
but that's why Wildcats works, because he kind of counterbalances that a little bit. Well, like Jeff, I feel like is like the extreme serious dark, and Joel is like a lighthearted goofball, and I'm somewhere in the middle, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but, you're sort of like a little bit of the like doofus savant.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's still a little fucked up.
Well, no, we started just because we're just, I don't know, we're not offendable. We're just sociopaths, I guess, and not easily offended, not at all offendable, or like, and we just say the worst shit, and we're just animals, and we want an outlet for it, and we can't just be that on stage, and it's harder to do in stand-up. Whereas if we made an outlet where like these are the characters that are doing it, and it's like, because we're being offensive, but it's also kind of parodying offensive comedy. Like, as part of the joke is like these three guys think they're so offensive and cool and edgy, but they're just dumb as hell. So it's a little more like digestible, I guess. But really, I mean, that Scooter character is closer to who I actually am than I am on stage with my stand-up. So it's a nice outlet to actually just go crazy. But really, we're just psychos. I don't know. We're just animals. But
no, I love it though.
Thanks,
I love it so much. I just love it so much, because as much as I try to have a social conscience, I just love absolutely insane jaw-dropping behavior. I just can't explain it.
Social conscience would be like, this is just what happens when you have three people who don't feel anything going on stage. And no, we feel stuff, and we try to make it political to an extent, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think that like it gets like offensive comedy's it's kind of like not in right now anymore, I think, but there's still that natural need for it. And so it just becomes more focused, I guess. Like people want to see that, and there is a way to do it. It just has to every few years get repackaged, I guess. And we just found our way to do it with Wildcat. Just like the roast battles, like people clearly want that over the top say anything. It just has to be packaged a certain way and be like focused in a certain way.
Yeah, in a way where it's understood that this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's like you know what you're getting into. It's not like you're just wandering into a club and then get like blindsided by a million rape jokes. It's like, okay, you're going to this. It's like going to a UFC fight. Like, okay, you're going to watch people beat the shit out of each other, or a wrestling event where it's like, okay, you're going to watch something like you know what you're in store for, basically.
Yeah, and that's your expectations. So your expectations you're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah, you're not going to be. Yeah.
Here's the last thing I want to ask you about, because the roast battles, I haven't done one yet. I think Luis might be trying to get a date for me and Jake Hart to roast each other. Haven't heard anything about that yet. The roast battles, as far as like a comedy form, like a new like, I don't want to say maybe form's the wrong thing I'm trying to say, but as far as like a new kind of show in comedy that's really interesting to watch. I think the roast battles are a really interesting and cool thing, and also for you, a perfect avenue for just how to write a really solid joke. How did you get involved with doing the roast battles? Because you were on, and again, so excited to see my friend Eli on Comedy Central and win.
That was fun. Thanks, man. Yeah, no, that was great. That was so fun. I was very happy too. How did I get into it, you was asking?
Yeah, like what were like the paths to like doing I'm guessing you did them at the stand, right?
Yeah, well, I always loved the roasts. It's like, I always like enjoyed, I don't even like watching comedy really. Like I don't like watching stand-up, I get bored watching stand-up specials, except for like some specific people.
Sure.
But roasts I can never get enough of. I love insults. Greg Giraldo is always my guy. He's one of the first when I was 18. I started listening to seeing his like Comedy Central Presents, and just always been a big Giraldo fan. I love his roasts, his albums, everything about him. But so I always wanted to do it because of Giraldo, and I always like anytime like Friends or something had a roast, I never got asked to do it, and I was just like always mad. I was like, I had a hunch like I'd be really good at it, like, and finally JP McDade asked me to battle him at the stand, and I was like, okay, sure, and I wrote 15 jokes, and we had a battle that went over very well, and so they've brought me back to main event it several times. And now the process is a little different. I think you have to do like a few one-rounders probably, and then main event. But maybe at the time there were just less people doing it or whatever. But we got to this main event right off the bat, which was cool. So
Nice.
yeah, I've done it a few times at the stand now, and then the one for Comedy Central.
Good guess. How many times have you won?
I won 4 straight main events, and then which is the 3-rounders, the big ones. And then they did that tournament.
So you're writing for people who... You're not only writing for the person you're matched up against, but you're also writing for whoever might win the other matchups?
In the tournament, yeah. But
all in one night?
No. The tournament was over the course of like a whole month. It was a few. They had round 1, round 2. Well, I won the main events, and then the tournament I got knocked out the first round. I was disappointed about that. Patrick Schroeder, who's really hilarious, beat me, and and then I won the 1-rounder on Comedy Central. So I guess I'm 5-1. 4 main events, and my only loss comes as a 1-rounder though. So I don't know. I haven't lost a main event yet. I'm sure it's gonna happen, but you know.
Yeah. Well, no, because again, you have with the understanding of what we're all there, everyone's there to do. I'm curious just because I'm hoping I'll get to do one soon. Are there ever times where are there ever times at the live roast battles where I know that there are judges like Lawrence and other like known bigger comics. Are there ever times where like people will say a joke and it's like way too far? Is it possible to go too far at the roast battles?
No, but it's possible to not be funny. You know, like it's the only time I've seen like an offensive joke, people would be like bulk at it, is because it just wasn't funny enough. So I guess that's the only risk. Like, if you can make it funny, like you could probably say just about anything, I think. But if you're going for something really heavy and it's not funny and it misses, it's kind of extra cringy that it missed. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of extra like, ugh. But I think people are more offended by the fact that it's not funny than they are that it's an offensive topic or whatever, which I think is good.
Yeah.
I think funny should be king. Funny should rule.
No, I agree. I agree absolutely. So just knowing like you could say like whatever fucked up thing about like, because I know like the joke about Chaplin's dead dad is just so it was just so on the money.
Thanks.
That twist at the end was just
Thank you.
delicious. So the crowd the crowd is like will only penalize you if your joke just sucks.
Yeah, although I guess I'm talking about the stand. I guess actually at the Road to Roast Battle Comedy Central thing, there were a bit more of a shuttled in crowd, like just general, like let's watch a Comedy Central thing. And I guess they did bulk at some, like they were like, oh, at some things. And I'm hoping for the main tournament, the LA thing that's going to start in a couple weeks, or maybe this week. I'm hoping that that's a little more rowdy because I think it's going to be in the belly room where this whole thing started. So I think that'll be good. But yeah, I guess here and then Gramercy last year where they did the Road to Roast Battle, the crowd definitely were just kind of like, oh, because it was just like the type of crowd that gets shuttled into like a Comedy Central Presents or something like that. They didn't know they didn't even really know what a roast was. But people who know what the roast is, then yeah, you can just say whatever.
Oh fuck yeah! And are you going to be at the ones at Gramercy, or are you?
No,
like,
Gramercy was Road to Roast Battle last year, and the Road to Roast Battle this year was at the Village Underground, the Comedy Silver Sister Club. The LA one, no, I'm not going to be in the LA one. Which whatever, it's fine.
Okay.
But there's some great ones. Zach Amico's going to be there. Evan Williams, Scott Chaplin, they're all going to be there. So I'm happy for them.
Awesome. And those, again, all guys like Evan, Scott, all dudes that I like met when I first went here. And I just get a kick out of seeing the possibilities of people escaping the open mic circuit.
Yeah, it's like a reverse jealousy thing. It's like a reverse jealousy thing for me where I just get extra excited. Like if you see someone get something that you didn't, you shouldn't be mad. You should be like, well, first you should just be happy for them, but also it just makes it all feel possible. You know, it's like, oh shit, like the hard work does pay off. Like this whole thing it is possible to do this and then get on TV. Like that's what I think when I see someone I know get on TV. I just get happy. You get excited.
Same. I just think hope. I never told Mike Lawrence this, but I met him my first weekend. I went to the open mic at Legion. He used to host with Dan.
Oh yeah,
and
Woodshed.
Then the infamous Woodshed Mike.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him on John Oliver's late night, his New York stand-up show, and then just going, oh, it is possible.
Yeah, the system can work.
It's fucking great, and I'm really happy that you're doing well, my friend.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Dude.
You too.
Thanks. And we'll have you on again.
Yeah, we'll do it again
I'd love
sometime.
to have you on again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry this one had to be a little compacted. But.
Oh, it's totally cool. I think we covered some good shit. I look forward to when we get to chat again, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. All right.
Peace.
Later.
Okay, folks, that's our show. Thank you for listening. I love getting to chat with Eli. He had to run and do a set, but I will have him on again because I love talking to that guy. If you want any updates on my upcoming stand-up shows, you can check my website, willcareyisfunny.com. That is CAREY is funny.com. And I will have links for tickets to my half-hour co-headlining show with Tyler Richardson at the People's Improv Theater on February 26th in the description. And if you can always rate and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, it would help me greatly. And as always, thanks for being here, and I will see you next week between awesome and disaster. Take care, everyone.